When Steph joined, that was a super exciting day, and then his brother Seth Curry as well, who's a Philadelphia 76er, so near and dear to my heart, and went public on January 2nd and sold out in about 5 hours, raising about $11 million. It was a really crazy thing to be a part of.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm a golfer who's passionate about technology and also a caddy in the north coast of Ireland. Me and my team are on a journey to create an app for the golf caddying industry, and while we're at it, we want to speak to as many interesting people creating exciting projects within the golf industry. I believe the future of this game is bright, my friends, and this is the Future of Golf podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Future of Golf podcast. And it's been one that I've been looking forward to for a little while now. You've probably been living under a rock if you haven't heard of the emergence of LinksDAO over the past few months, especially if you're involved in the NFT space and in the golf industry. And today I'm lucky enough to have one of the founding team members, Cooper, on our podcast today. Cooper, absolute pleasure to have you on, man. How are you?
Hey, Graham, I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on. Having a great day here in Philadelphia. Happy to be on.
It's been incredible. So all of this momentum really started from a couple of tweets, just an idea put out. Do you want to maybe take us back, because everything's happened so quickly? Do you want to maybe go back to that first spark really and the idea, and just the sort of 24, 48 hours that followed? So what was it like going back to the very start of that? Do you want to take us through that little experience?
Sure, absolutely. So this all kind of started in mid-December with a tweet from Mike Dudas. There was a lot of chatter about a Gary Vaynerchuk project, Fly Fish Club, which is a membership-based restaurant in New York City. And I guess the conversation evolved into, what if we created a DAO to buy a golf course? What if we offered NFT membership to a golf course? And Mike sent out that tweet and immediately just went really viral. I think it was the right time and place for that concept. December, everybody just kind of wanted to get golfing, and that exploded. So I had been, involved in some crypto, NFT, and Web3 projects, and saw that tweet and immediately hopped on board and said, how can I help? The Discord was open, but was pretty chaotic there at the beginning. Just kind of a free-flowing, very fast conversation with not very much structure, and that's kind of my expertise, is the community tools and community building. So got in touch with Mike and the other founding members, and by that next morning we had a little bit of a structure to the madness that had jumped out of that original tweet.
Yeah, it was actually one of my mates. He tagged me, and I think the initial post that came out on Twitter, and he knew I was passionate about golf, so I clicked on it, and I was like, "What on earth is this emerging?" Wasn't it sort of an initial, just like a Google Docs where anyone could contribute? Really, it was sort of like a free for all, as you mentioned.
Exactly. So, originally there was a Google document that was just open to anyone with the link to comment, and I think that really speaks to the strength of the community, that, and also the professionalism that people jumped in and immediately started collaborating, working together, and communicating about just all of the various ideas that could come out of LinksDAO. And that document kind of expanded into the founding ethos and philosophy of LinksDAO, and we're working now to implement many of those ideas that came out of that first 48 hours.
Yeah. So I guess after that 48-hour sprint, what was the central thesis, maybe for people that haven't got involved yet? What was the sort of core concept that you came out of that time with?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was to create a bridge between Web3 and golf in a way that membership to a golf course could be offered through an NFT. The traditional golf course space is known to be pretty exclusive, extremely expensive. The barriers to entry for membership at a golf club, at least here in the United States, are really high. So the idea was to offer access to NFT holders to a top 100 golf course experience, golf membership experience here in the U.S. And eventually, that's expanded to the idea of having multiple courses worldwide. In addition, buying a golf course is a pretty complicated process.
I'd imagine,
So
yeah.
that membership community that exists currently is we're exploring lots of different ways and activating ways for members to have benefits and real life golf experiences with each other in the meantime while that course is working to being open.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the point about exclusivity to courses in America. So obviously I'm from Ireland, and I mean, to a degree, there is some sort of hierarchy and status to golf clubs, but the game has become a lot more accessible actually over here and in Europe in the last 10 to 20 years. Is it still very much in a lot of places an elitist and sort of a hierarchy to memberships over in the US?
I'd say that one thing that's really changed the game here was the pandemic. COVID, as that took off and people were home working from home a lot more often, had time off from work, golf became one of those hobbies that could be enjoyed in a socially distanced setting, right?
Yeah.
I think that that access and that growth of the game for that hobby and entry level player has really expanded. But access to those, high level exclusive courses, I think has remained the same. I mean, I hear
Yeah.
stories all the time where it's a multi-year wait list with a $250,000 non-refundable to or you might not ever see that money again if
Yeah.
you want to apply for one of these courses. So it's still pretty high barrier to entry for some of those experiences.
Yeah, it seems like it because I would caddy myself at an Irish golf course, and you hear the Americans coming across all the time paying X amount for membership, and it's crazy, and it's only the 0.1% that can afford these facilities. So I guess so you've got the 48 hours, you've got your initial thesis, and then I guess the next stage is sort of this NFT sale. Do you want to take us through sort of the origins of that, and then the insanity that follows that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not sure how familiar your listeners are with crypto or NFTs, but the NFT is a non-fungible token. It's basically a collectible that can be sold in exchange for cryptocurrency, and it creates a basically a unique access token, kind of like your membership card, that was sold, and that is how you prove your membership in LinksDAO. There have been tons of these, most famously Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, and a lot of celebrities have bought into Bored Ape Yacht Club, and most of them are kind of status symbols or collectible items, speculative investment vehicles. So this kind of function to sell an NFT that had real world utility,
Yeah.
as it relates to especially a hobby, was a pretty unique and new concept.
Hmm.
But the technology underlying, the founding team, we have some really talented people with some great business experience, as well as connections with the people that develop the NFT mint contract, the smart contract technology that allows for these sales. So really, the pace at which LinksDAO went from that initial tweet and that viral moment to
Hmm.
mint only 2 weeks later on New Year's, so from December 15th to New Year's, it's pretty much unheard of for a project of this
Yeah.
size to move that quickly. But in my experience, I've seen other golf projects that I worked in the NFT space that didn't capitalize on the momentum. And so I think seeing how well this team came together, how the community responded, and then pushed really hard through to activate that mint of the NFTs in a short period of time,
Hmm.
is a huge factor in the success of the project.
Yeah.
The NFT sale opened up using the Discord to grant access to some of those early members, and then went public on January 2nd and sold out in about 5 hours,
Yeah.
raising about $11 million. It
Yeah.
was a really crazy thing to be a part of.
It's unbelievable. Now, I must confess, I just graduated from university, so I'm still saving to get my LinkedIn membership. But it was just for me, obviously being a member in that Discord, maybe from sort of November time going on. I don't think I've witnessed anything like it as far as the strength of the community. And also, I think with a lot of Web3 projects, just the willingness for people to chip in and no expectation of return to actually help out the project. I suppose my question is, and you maybe touched on this earlier, how did you sort of control that chaos in a positive direction from the 48 hours that you had brainstorming to then really be productive up to that launch and actually get things done despite the decentralized nature of what you're building.
Absolutely. So that's a really interesting question that ties into kind of what I was doing before LinksDAO, which is building tools for communities in the NFT space, mostly for artists and some of those more those less utility based NFT projects. It's really hard with traditional social media to organize people in a way
Yeah.
that is functional, and especially when you bring in the amount of money or involvement that people expect in the NFT space. In order to kind of organize that chaos, Discord is the best software that's out right now for that. And building the right tools, channels, and places for people to interact and kind of specialize was absolutely crucial for kind of directing those efforts in the right way. One Google Doc with everyone editing at the same time can be a little
Yeah.
crazy, but
Carnage.
when you have it's yeah, carnage exactly. But I mean, it actually ended up really well for LinksDAO because everyone was so mission focused. But having structure in Discord really allowed us to hone that and focus it, and allowed for the development of not only the mint and organization there, but for eventually what we have now, which are our working groups and contributors to the DAO.
Mm,
People who, like you said, are just lovers of the project, maybe NFT holders that have special skills. Right now we have 8 working pods, like operations, marketing, um, analytics.
yeah.
It's across the board, so people can work together, bring what they know to the table, and
Hmm.
then help the rest of the organization move forward.
Yeah, and it's funny how many things have sprung up for it. So there's obviously a group doing our newsletter that are reporting new things happening in the Mulligan. Um, I guess from your perspective, obviously there's a lot of NFT projects now that are maybe doing very well, and it's sort of the gold rush of projects, as maybe Gary Vee mentioned. What do you think was the sort of differentiating factor between what you guys built and maybe why it's taken off so fast, as opposed to other projects that maybe haven't got just as much traction quite yet?
Sure. So, it's very interesting. Like, what is the golden formula for an NFT project? Like, what makes one work and one not? Um, I could definitely say that, having a team that was doxed, which is the term for having your, personal information public available. There's a lot of people who that run NFT projects as anonymous individuals with just internet names or
Yeah,
handles.
yeah,
So having a publicly known team that was willing to put their name and their reputation behind the project, specifically Mike Dudas, who has over 100,000 followers on
yeah,
Twitter, all very focused in this Web3 space. That was a really significant contribution to the hype that built around the
yeah,
project. So having an experienced doxed team is really important, but also having a unique mission, a niche where there's a need that can be filled. We've seen a lot of other DAOs pop up this year, focused on other hobbies and interests like that, where crowdsourcing, to fund an objective, to fund a hobby group,
mm,
people want to connect online, right? So you can have a just money grab PFP, profile picture NFT project, or if you really bring together a community of people with a common interest and give them the chance to work together to build something together, that's where I think you can build culture in some of these places like Discord and have a lot of momentum that moves towards a common shared objective.
yeah. It's interesting you mentioned about crowdfunding. Do you almost see NFTs as nearly a more effective way to crowdfund a project through, I guess it's rewarding the members with something tangible that they can then use long term, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely, right. It's definitely an interesting way for both decentralized organizations and groups as well as businesses to raise capital and also give people a collectible item in return. It's a really cool mechanism, and because it's all done on the blockchain, it's verifiable
Yeah.
and tradable, right, in the long term.
Hmm. And obviously, there's been celebrities joining, like Steph Curry. What's all that been like? That's probably been crazy for you.
Yeah, it's actually been really, really funny. when Steph joined, that was a super exciting day, and then his brother Seth Curry as well, who's a Philadelphia
Yeah,
76er, so near and dear to my heart. It was a really exciting process, to see that happen. And then as kind of the community lead and Discord admin, I've actually direct messaged with Steph on Discord, which is just like a
yeah. That's
mind-blowing
unbelievable.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really cool, and the way the community responded to that was really cool too, right? We raised this money; it's in the treasury, and we also get a percentage of secondary sales. So the community voted together based off of their NFT ownership to donate a portion of our secondary sales to Steph Curry's Eat, Learn, Play charity. So
yeah,
the hype that kind of built from Steph and the membership that brought in, um, you know, we're trying to pay that back to the community and kind of improve sports and learning for everybody in the ecosystem, right? The mission is to have a more inclusive golf society or ecosystem, and
hmm
that's been a really fun way of giving back.
yeah. That's awesome. And I suppose taking us to that future vision. Obviously you mentioned real world value and actually building a real course is ultimately the aim of this project. Um, where do you see that along the process as far as actually acquiring a course, buying land, and then do we ultimately plan to build the course ourselves, actually dig the first turf, or are you looking to acquire a golf course?
Sure. So these are really interesting questions, right? I'm not the most knowledgeable on the team about the actual process of buying, owning, building a golf course. From what I've learned so far, it's actually a really complicated process. Who would have believed? So the mission, right, is to return value as soon as possible to the LinksDAO membership. Um, that way, in that way, we think we're going to opt towards purchasing an existing golf course and then improving it, and opening that, and that's going to be
Hmm.
like the fastest way to a really great club experience with potentially a little bit of a course redesign and clubhouse improvements, and that will kind of accelerate the timeline. Buying and building a course, buying land, right, just regular empty
Yeah,
land and building a golf course is something that we're definitely really interested in doing. However, the timeline on that is
yeah,
a little bit closer to 3 to 8 years. And NFTs have only been around for really in the mainstream for just about a year. So the timeline on that is definitely something that we are excited about, but probably not for the first course.
yeah,
But the possibilities with that are really exciting.
yeah,
And the mission has definitely expanded from one course to multiple courses across the country and eventually around the world. Hopefully, eventually in Europe, Ireland, something
yeah,
like that, so that we can really provide access and cool experiences for all members.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely first course is probably going to be a buy and improve.
yeah. I chipped into the Discord and I said, Ireland, we do a mean pint, so you could definitely and maybe, as you say, in maybe 20 years time, or whatever time frame that is, like start branching out and having these sort of facilities worldwide, and obviously that makes the community accessible for people outside the US. And the DAO, obviously there's a lot of different geographical locations in the Discord, so is ultimately, I guess, your mission to serve those people eventually by having little hubs across the world.
Yes, absolutely. So it's been really awesome to see the widespread geography of people who are interested in LinksDAO, from Singapore to Ireland to Spain, Germany, Hong Kong. It's all over Australia. So right now we're definitely looking to open a first course in the United States, but long term, we are looking to have benefits, like uh, with equipment manufacturers, discounts for golf equipment, clothing, etc., that are available, for the worldwide community.
Yeah,
And that's in the meantime. And then ultimately, yes, having destination courses in across continents, right? So that we can
yeah,
all have, a Portugal link style meetup at the link style course, or in Australia or Hong Kong or something like that. So I think those
yeah.
are definitely potentials that we're interested in doing, because golf is a global game. You've seen that recently with some of the stuff coming out in new golf leagues emerging from the Middle East.
Mm.
So we're definitely excited at seeing the potential of that and the growth opportunities overseas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose that ties in quite well with the partnerships that you've managed to make with, like, sort of what they would call mainstream golf brands. It's nearly arguable that you're sort of trending that direction yourself. But do you want to maybe touch on that and sort of some of the partnerships that you've made over the last few months?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first big one that came out was Five Iron Golf, which is a network of indoor golf simulators and kind of like clubhouses. Really, there's one here in Philly with another one opening soon. They're in New York, Chicago, kind of all over.
Hmm.
And that was a really cool way, especially in winter, of offering members a way to go and play discounted rounds of virtual golf. You know, access to club fittings, lessons, all at a discounted rate for LinksDAO members. And that was really excited. And I personally went to the one here in Philadelphia and met up with LinksDAO members that I'd only ever known online. So a URL
Yeah,
to IRL experience. And, you know, just fantastic people. We connected
that's
over
it.
hobbies and, you know, making new friends in the place where you are based off of the project.
Yeah.
So the Five Iron one was really, really great, as well as Devereaux and Minimal Golf came out with discounts for bags and clothing, which is really exciting. And then also Ship Sticks, which is a great one for golfers that want to travel and go to destinations, offering a discount to members as well. So
Awesome.
those were the initial ones that we've launched, and we have a bunch more in the works with a variety of personalities in golf and sports, as well as some of the larger you know, names in golf, whether it be from networks of courses in terms of ideas like reciprocity, where members will be able to you know, play different courses that they might not be able to
Mm,
because they're a LinksDAO member and have access to this network of courses, or manufacturers of golf, other golf equipment like clubs or the like.
yeah, that's amazing. And I suppose that's an interesting point. So obviously you were working in this online. You hadn't seen the founding members face to face. Did it all become very real when you actually met them in person?
Yes, absolutely. I had the opportunity to go to New York. You know, we're looking at an event for NFT NYC coming up in June, and I had the opportunity to go to New York here from Philly and meet many of the founding members in person, which was just a really exciting, cool experience to connect with them
Hmm.
after working together pretty closely over the past you know, month and a half. So that was great. It definitely felt real, and also the, you know, the ideas that come out of those in-person meetings, like online on Zoom, you know, it's definitely
Yeah.
one thing, but when you're sitting there together and talking about these ideas, it brings it to another level. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to having more of that with the team.
Yeah, there's something about that, the sort of spontaneity of being in person as opposed to online. Saying that ironically, recording an online podcast, but we're doing what we can. Obviously, there's geographical boundaries to that. Um, do you feel that sometimes when you meet in person, there's almost a different level of synergy? And to that point, are you trying to get a physical presence in some place?
Yeah, so there's definitely you know, a level of synergy, and I think there's that's kind of one of the reasons why so much business is done on golf courses, right? You can meet up with people and have a meeting and get
Yeah.
together and play. So I think definitely that's something that you know, I'm looking forward to a lot more of, and something that is going to be a benefit of having a physical course. In terms of an office location, I don't think that's necessarily in the cards. I think we've demonstrated that we can accomplish some pretty big things remotely.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to change that structure because it's working really, really well. But I think that picking up the cadence of in-person meetings, both for members and for, you know, the community team and the founding team, is something that we're definitely looking to improve. And that's kind of evidenced with something that we're doing soon at South by Southwest with our first in real life golf event.
Hmm. Um, so yeah, just maybe to touch on that in real life golf event, what date would that be happening and where?
Sure. So South by Southwest is a, you know, music and technology festival in Austin, Texas, this March. And we are this is actually one of the cool things about this community, right? Two guys in the community team. Somebody mentioned South by Southwest, and over the course of about 6 days, uh, two members of the community team put together an event plan, and it went to a vote for the community, and now you know, we're getting really close to opening up registration for the 2 days of golf events at Top Golf, a Austin local course and a resort quality course there in Texas for LinksDAO members to meet up and get together. So that's less than a month away, and I could not be more excited to meet the members and also kind of mingle with the founding team, the members, everybody getting together, sharing ideas, and building together. And this is going to be kind of the inaugural of a series of events that we're definitely planning on having for real life golf for members across the
Mm.
country and potentially overseas, right? While we work towards opening that first golf course for everyone to play together.
Yeah, that is the really exciting part when members can actually meet up. And obviously, there's a lot of value to being in the network as well with all these Web3 projects because I think the thing that's exciting for me is you're meeting like-minded people that you can meet people online from, say, Singapore or the other side of the world that you have a common interest with. And in real life, you might not be able to meet people in your area like that, which is maybe for me what appealed to me about Web3 projects. Now, playing the devil's advocate, say maybe a standard golfer who maybe hasn't been involved with NFTs yet or is just sort of finding out about the space. Obviously, traditional golf memberships, at least in Ireland anyway, is you sort of pay an annual fee and you have a subscription for the year. There's not necessarily like a token or a physical membership. Um, what do you believe is maybe some of the inherent advantages of having, I guess, a non-fungible token as a representation of your membership, as opposed to what is maybe seen as a traditional golf membership?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I would say, traditional golf membership in your local area is definitely something that any golfer should, look into and make that decision. I think that having an NFT or a virtual or digital membership to any one of these DAOs, but specifically for LinksDAO, it doesn't just grant you access to play at the eventual course, right? This NFT grants access to the broader community, as you said, connecting people in a similar interest.
Yeah,
We have members only sections in the Discord. We're launching a member directory online. There's one member who's actually reached out to all the other members and is traveling up the East Coast this spring and playing at all of the other golf
that's
courses and
awesome.
doing a video series. So, the connection that comes with, not just your local club, but worldwide golf, as well as, the benefits that we spoke about a little bit earlier, discounts and percentages. And by being a member in this community and potentially even contributing to help build it, the rewards for all of us as golfers grow.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be some trip up the East Coast. So it'll be, I suppose that's New York, Boston sort of direction. Would he be going through?
Yeah, we have a member who's a caddy down in Miami. And so he caddies in Miami during the winters and then up in New York during the summers. So this spring, he's going to drive from Miami all the way up to Boston and play with, I think, over 20 of our members at their home clubs.
That's class.
And that's just kind of like a preview of what reciprocity might look like, between members and then ultimately with potentially a network of courses that we're working with.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was just wondering as well. Obviously, me being a caddy myself, is there going to be a caddy program at your course as well?
I don't know. I think that might be something really really fun to look into. I think a lot of people love the caddy model, avoiding the carts, walking along and having somebody like yourself, who knows the course well. It's a great way to play the game. So I think that's definitely something we look into.
That's awesome. And obviously, there's so many potential paths that you guys can go with that. But I mean, the glaringly obvious one is the virtual reality side of it. So obviously, the last maybe 12 to 18 months, there's been a real explosion of virtual reality projects. Um, I would assume that you guys are definitely looking into that space. I guess where do you see that going for you guys within sort of the next 3, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So the explosion of platforms like Sandbox, Decentraland, has been really really cool to see. Not just from a speculative perspective, but for the potential for activations and experiences in the metaverse, as they call it now.
Yeah,
So I think that things like Oculus, the the virtual reality golf games like Golf Plus, as well as some of the more traditional golf games like PGA or for consoles and computers, connecting people together across borders and boundaries to play golf together in the metaverse is a really cool option, as well as the potential for even designing a course in the metaverse. We've had a number of really cool conversations with some leaders in those spaces across gaming,
Hmm.
from your traditional game developer studios to all the way to some of the more nascent Web3 metaverse developers for
Hmm.
land and things like that, and seeing the interest from some of the large brands in golf at wanting to participate in some of those things is really really cool to see that they're open to these ideas and kind of capitalizing on the new way of doing things. It's also a really cool way for the game to be more inclusive, right? Buying clubs, going out paying greens fees, or renting clubs, spending 4 hours out on a course, that's not necessarily for everybody, but it's an entry point for people who might want to just like learn how to play the game. All you need to do is fire up the virtual version and play and potentially meet with
Yeah.
some of the players. And I think it lowers the barrier of entry again, across the board. It's really a fun way to do things.
Yeah, I've been speaking to a lot of NFT founders, Cooper, in this podcast, and I think an overlapping theme with all NFT projects has been inclusivity, if I can say that word, inclusivity, of the projects, and trying to lower the barrier of entry to golf has been basically the driving force of every project. I guess, do you see VR almost being a little catalyst to that as well, where people can go in for half an hour and meet up instead of, as you say, being 4 hours in the course where people maybe don't have time to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've seen kind of the in real life version of that with things like Top Golf, where you go and it's a more casual experience. You can go hit
Yeah.
the balls to the driving range and play mini games like that. So I think as the technology improves, we've seen huge strides over even just the past 6 months in some of the technology in virtual reality golf. We're going to see a lot more adoption and interest in metaverse gaming. There's also the potential too for play to earn.
Yeah.
Where you could potentially play a game either wagering with friends or for a certain number of points or tokens, for a reward for winning a virtual tournament. And the idea of being able to play against people who are playing on a real life golf course across the world simultaneously with the abilities of 5G and telecom combined with the metaverse. It's a really exciting world that we
Yeah.
have going on.
That's it. It's like being the character in Tiger Woods PGA Tour, being the actual player in it. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I suppose we've touched sort of on the more overarching view of the project, but I suppose going more into your role and what your actual involvement is, do you want to maybe speak about the specific parts of the project that you're working on in the minute, Cooper?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm the community lead. I am right now focusing on administering the Discord and working on community product. So, what that means is making sure that everyone who wants to be part of the community can get involved in some way or the other, and what that experience kind of looks like. Focusing right now on our Discord community, but also, how the brand looks across social media, the voice, and those kinds of things.
Hmm.
Um, the really cool thing that I'm working on right now is the ability for community members, for NFT holders, to join the working groups. So LinksDAO, we want to have that decentralization, and I mentioned those pods before. If you're an NFT holder, within the next week or so, you're going to be able to go into the Discord and then get visibility into what the community team is working on
Mm.
things like partnerships, on things like events. And if you're interested in some of those aspects, you can jump into the conversation and start contributing right there, and start working on a project that you might be interested in, or something that you think could be improved for LinksDAO. And I'm really, really stoked to see how the community can kind of expand and contribute and work together, because we've moved so fast, like lightning pace so far. And I think every degree of infrastructure that's built just adds to that capabilities of this awesome team and community. So that's what I'm really most excited about right now. Also really excited, about how we structure, the community and build and grow access, not just to the NFT holders, but to LinksDAO as an idea, as a brand. Throughout the next year as we work towards opening up a course, what does LinksDAO mean to the broader community? How
Mm,
can non NFT holders get involved or play a part or potential or participate in the LinksDAO ecosystem? So that broader community concept, is a really fascinating idea because it's not just the investor, the buyer, the NFT holder, the DAO member or contributor, but what does LinksDAO mean for the golf community as a whole?
mm.
So, working with this awesome team is it's a delight. Right, I'm working with some really incredible people, learning from them, and we all learn from each other and are building something together. And day to day, every day is different. It's Web3, and everything changes on a dime. So
Yeah.
it's an exciting, fast-paced environment.
Yeah, exactly. You're just watching the price of Ethereum go up and down, and there's a lot of variables. You touched
Right.
there on the significance in the wider sense of the project, not just in the internal community, but also making an impact outside of that. I guess when you look at it from a bird's eye view, what do you think? Because LinksDAO really is the sort of groundbreaker in this. It's been the one that's got the most attention. How or what significance do you see the project having on a wider scale as far as golf in general?
Sure, absolutely. So I think the some of the other founding members were on a call yesterday, a live YouTube chat with the
Yeah, I
National
think I
Golf
caught a
Owners
little bit of it.
Association.
I was watching a bit for
Yeah,
research before this. It was really interesting.
yeah, it was a great chat, and I think the model of having NFT and Web3 revenue as part of a golf and the way that communities are built online through NFTs and cryptocurrency. First of all, you're bringing in a younger audience to the game, which is always something that's really interesting for golf. Secondly, it changes the way clubs and courses can think about their model of business. If you have some of these revenue streams from Web3, you can maybe do some more exciting different things on the course and activate things for your broader community around that specific course, or for an online community, building a course in the metaverse, an exact copy. You can go in and lidar scan a course and upload it, right? So there's things like that are really exciting potential for the golf community. And also just as a general thing for the sport, I think the visibility and access for people,
Mm.
it just brings more eyes and ears. We have on one hand, 25% of our community, this was their first NFT that they ever purchased, right? So that's bringing in the golf hobbyist into Web3. But
Yeah,
on the other hand, we have a decent number of people who have never played golf but bought the NFT because they love the
yeah,
idea,
yeah,
right? So it's kind of that Venn diagram on both sides, where it's more exposure to the game and maybe making it more accessible and interesting to some people who haven't thought about picking up a set of clubs before.
yeah. I think you've hit it well because on the Discord there is like a golf 101, NFT 101. So maybe the person that hasn't played golf comes in and they learn the rules, and vice versa. The golf expert who hasn't a clue about NFTs, they can go in and sort of research that and learn a bit more about it. And obviously, like maybe we take it for granted because I guess yourself, especially, is very early in this adoption curve. You mentioned that you were sort of consulting for other NFT projects before this. Um, do you start seeing, or are you starting to see a paradigm shift happening with people where it's sort of like the light bulb in their head going, oh, this is not only is it fun, not only is it exciting, it's actually a viable business model that has longevity in it. Are you starting to witness that? I guess with the wider community.
Yeah, so I mean, a good example of that would be my parents, right? Telling them that I was involved in NFTs, they're like, "What
Yeah,
is
what the
that? It's
hell? Are you...
crypto." Yeah, you're selling JPEGs on the internet.
Yeah,
It doesn't make a lot of sense to lots of people who aren't necessarily as tech savvy, and to some who are really tech savvy. People, and specifically the gaming community, which I was a part of, are kind of anti NFT, right? I think that when you tie, a project like LinksDAO to a real world application, it kind of makes
mm,
sense. The light bulb clicks on, and I think as we see more of these projects come out, that have these utilities that kind of make sense to somebody. Like, oh, now I get that there's an access thing. Like Bored Ape Yacht Club, you have a picture of a monkey, and it gets you access to a yacht party, right? Like that's people that doesn't connect as well as somebody who's like, oh, I like billiards. I could join billiards DAO, or that's a hypothetical, but um, it's really a cool way to show that it's more than just buying a picture on the internet. It's joining a community, joining a purpose and a shared vision.
Mm. I think if you told people they were going to be at the same club as Steph Curry, I think the price of membership would straight away rocket. And I suppose we did witness that as well. The price of the memberships went up. Just a quick question on the memberships actually as well, because I guess they're sectioned off into two different categories. So what was the motivation behind that?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially we sold 9,090 NFTs, and that was originally going to be 1,800 global memberships and 70 to 72 leisure memberships, right? Uh, because of demand from the community early on, we kind of expanded that global section to be a larger proportion. So there's about one third of the memberships are global memberships, would grant you
Mhm.
4 times the voting power in for those proposals like we discussed earlier. You can those are 4 votes, and then a leisure membership is 1 vote. Global members have access to higher tier discounts at places like Shipsticks or Five Iron,
Mhm.
additional member benefits,
Yeah.
as well as access to more club reciprocity. And they also reserve the right to buy 2 individual memberships or a family membership at the eventual course, whereas a leisure offers only 1 individual membership. So we're also for events like South by Southwest, global members will have first right to register for a 48-hour period. Then, if it isn't sold out, it'll open to leisures. So it's kind of these tiers of memberships, and we're interested in looking at ways to expand that beyond the existing community going forward to potentially grant non-club access and things like that, as well as doing a profile picture drop to kind of make things really fun and have identities for the project.
Yeah. You mentioned Gary V earlier on. I guess he sort of has a similar thing with the V friends, and then that grants the people that buy the NFTs access to, I believe it's VCon, the event he holds as well.
Right.
Was there any sense of inspiration from looking at something that he did, or maybe other things that inspired that model of membership?
I think it really was. I can't speak necessarily to the inspiration specifically from other projects, but I can
Yeah.
say that one of the main purposes was with having a significant number of the leisure memberships available was really to have that they sold for 0.18 Ethereum, and to have that entry point for a golf experience. Is kind of unheard of compared to the benefits that are eventually going to come along with this and access to the club, um, or that right to reserve a membership at the club. I think that having those varying tiers and having that low barrier entry point for the leisures was the main motivation, and that a global just kind of have a higher level of access for some people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess looking into the future, then obviously there's a lot of exciting things going on, and there's still a lot of execution to happen from yourself and I guess everyone in the team to sort of reach the grand vision of having a golf course. I have no doubt that that will eventually happen. But I guess what's the sort of north star that's driving everyone at the minute? Is there any sort of like midterm objectives that you're trying to reach maybe before that you get to the eventual goal of having the golf course?
Sure. I think locking down a list of those first courses to buy is definitely an objective.
Yeah.
That's, I want to remind everybody because some people ask in the Discord, our primary objective is still 100% to acquire a golf course and open it up to LinksDAO members. That nobody's losing sight of that. But we're capable, of doing more than one thing at once, right? So we're activating these memberships, we're doing in real life events. And the partnerships I think that we're currently looking at and figuring out exactly how to structure, um, that will be coming out kind of as golf season opens in the rest of North America, is really what I'm most excited about. The time frames on those vary. In the short term, we have the merchandise shop that's going to be opening up between now and maybe the first week of March at the latest, but I think much sooner. We're going to
Hmm.
have a vote on that probably in the next day or two. Um, that's going to be really cool. You can wear your LinksDAO merchandise and go out and have a yeah, exactly, like you zip up your LinksDAO hoodie and have a good
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
But I think things like the member directory with reciprocity, and then also potentially partnering with a large network of golf clubs across the country, so that members have the ability to play golf that they would never have been able to play without a
Mm,
LinksDAO membership. That's what I'm super excited about in the midterm, as well as some of these, big name brands partnerships. Like I personally, I play with a set of irons that's older than I am, so partnering with
yeah.
a golf club manufacturer, I think is going to be a really cool thing for the membership to have access to. And those are definitely on the horizon.
Yeah, that'll be fun. You can swap out your rusty clubs for something a bit newer.
Ex- exactly. Yeah.
That sounds brilliant. Yeah, I guess there's so many exciting things happening for you guys. I guess from sort of a general sense, as far as NFT purchasing, it's maybe not the easiest process for someone that hasn't done it, and I'm still learning this space myself as far as purchasing. Having to put Ethereum into your wallet as a currency you haven't used. I guess how are you tackling that sort of user experience issues of people that maybe haven't went through the process of buying their first NFT? I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something that once you're in the ecosystem, it's easy to forget that like it's not doesn't come naturally to most people, right?
Mm,
There's a lot of friction and barriers to entry for that process. Projects I worked on in the past being more art focused, like the traditional art world has no idea how to buy an NFT. The traditional golf world might not have any idea how to buy an NFT. People can log on to Coinbase and buy and trade cryptocurrencies pretty easily, but
hmm
what's that next step? How do you get past that into actually buying and purchasing an NFT? um, we are definitely interested in expanding that access for the golf community, and I appreciate the question because we can definitely do a better job with our educational materials, to know that information's out there, but we want to provide that for everybody in our community to be able to access. Right now, you buy Ethereum on Coinbase, you have to transfer it to a different wallet like Coinbase Wallet, MetaMask. You have to go to OpenSea, find the NFT that you want to buy it, and then transfer it to your wallet. Downloading Discord is a whole other thing to get involved with
Yeah.
the community. So it's a little bit fragmented right now, but it's a reminder that we're still really early in the space. So I think that people in all projects, especially ones that are involved with real world hobbies and utilities, need to focus on that new member experience, and also educating people on how to not get scammed or give away their seed phrase
Yeah.
for cryptocurrency, right? There's no customer service department that you can call
Yeah.
in
That
crypto.
the scamming part is a great point you mentioned, because when I looked up LinksDAO on OpenSea, there was a whole load of different LinksDAO that had listed and had, I think, it copied your initial logo and it listed, and very easily someone could click on and purchase that. And I know you definitely did post in the Discord to say, listen, guys, this is not the correct thing. Um, is it almost a case of waiting for I guess more efficient infrastructure to be built in the macro? As you say, you have the uploading the Ethereum and then transferring across to your MetaMask and then going into OpenSea, and then you've got the community part of it, so they're all fragmented. Do you think there will be some sort of one mass market solution that where everything can be done? And is there stuff like that being built at the minute?
Sure. So I do think Coinbase NFT is definitely aiming to do something with
Yeah.
that soon. They expected to launch in December. Now it's February. Who knows where they are with that? But I think that combination of the on ramp to buying crypto and then moving right into NFTs is a really really cool thing for people to be able to access. Um, yeah, it's decentralized, right? So, there's not a whole lot of rules or regulations on how these things work. So yeah, anybody can kind of go and create a fake LinksDAO collection.
Mm,
And it's problematic. So we are working with OpenSea to verify our collection, get the little blue check mark. And we do what we can to educate our membership and the broader community, about not clicking malicious links and to double check everything all the time. But it's there are risks out here, and I always advise anyone to never put more money into crypto than you're willing to lose.
mhm.
That's it's not just for the scams but also for the market component. It's definitely interesting Wild West style environment out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you on a personal level, or is there anything exciting in your golfing calendar? Have you any exciting rounds coming up this year, or is there anywhere you would like to play?
I'm playing. I'm turning 30. I'm going down to Florida for my 30th birthday, right
Lovely.
before South by Southwest, and I'm going to be able to play a couple of great courses down in Florida, and then about 3 rounds in Austin. So it's going to be a big golf week there for me at early March. Looking forward to that a lot, and then ultimately, all of the different events and opportunities to meet and play with LinksDAO members throughout the year. I'm very excited about.
That's awesome. What's the golf game looking like at the minute? Have you got out to the driving range and tested it out?
It's been cold in Philly. I might be a little bit rusty. I got my Gin app and been entering my scores for the handicap. I was a little rusty around the holidays when I was playing last time. So gotta hit 5 iron and hit that simulator. I played well on the simulator, but it's hitting off those mats. You never know how that's going to translate to the course.
That's it. Yeah, it's just you need to keep at it and be consistent as far as your practice for winter. Saying that myself, I haven't played maybe in 2 or 3 months. The winter's just been a bit grim in Ireland, so I need to get out myself and start practicing. But yeah, I mean, Cooper, that was fantastic to have you on. Obviously, I could probably talk on again for another hour or so, and I'm sure we'll do it again at some point. But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. And I hope to come back to Ireland someday soon and meet you and play some golf.
Yep, absolutely more than welcome anytime. Just give me a shout, and same goes out for any LinksDAO members watching. But yeah, thanks again for everyone watching. That was episode 10 of the Future of Golf podcast. Leave maybe comments down below, and if you would like anyone else to come on, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the episode of this podcast. If you made it this far, you can continue the fun on Discord, our Twitter, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel.